You! Yes! Quickly, before we begin, I just want to say that this video was edited in a new editing software for me, DaVinci Resolve. So if you experience any hiccups or just weird things happening, please do tell me. I am still learning. But I feel like I got out pretty well. Oh, okay, that's it just before we begin. And make sure to stick around for the entire video, and especially for the end. There might be a little surprise for you. Yes. Okay, enjoy. Hello there, Patchguyhere here. I have been playing a lot of Terrafirmagreg recently, and I've been loving it very much. Yes, it's been fun. And I have reached the end of HV, and I thought I'd do a little base tour. So I think that the best place to start would probably be my more TFC focused base. Let's just head over there. And a little bit of warning, I'm probably going to be yapping quite a lot throughout this, because I have a lot of thoughts and things that I like to share about all of this. So I will try my best to put some chapters in the YouTube video, so that you can skip ahead to any points that you'd rather like, or if you feel like I've been going on about something for too long, you can see how much more is left. I haven't tried to use those kind of chapters, so I do apologize if it kind of sucks. Anyways, let's just head on over there. Why don't we do that? And as you can probably tell, I have not been doing too well on keeping my hands off dangerous materials. Oopsie. This is quite slow, isn't it? Yeah. You know what? Let's put this on. And let's just look the way that I'd like to look. Yeah, that's a little faster, don't you think? Yeah, it's a lot faster. That's a lot better. Right, so this is my my humble abode. Oh man. It's lagging a little too much to have shaders on, don't you think? I'm sorry, I'm going to turn them off. Whoa. Doesn't look as great, does it? No, it does not. Anyways, this was my house for, most of the early game really. It did take me a little while to build it because I am very lazy with building. And I'm actually not a huge fan of doing it. I tend to procrastinate on it a lot, and it's not always super fun, but I do want to build. Yeah, this served quite well. I didn't use it as much as I probably should have. And I have a goofier little, I guess you could call this a loft, where I set my spawn and I sleep sometimes. Yeah, I have moved most of my things out from these. It's just kind of rocks I have left here, and a few things that I really didn't have any need for anymore. Basically anything that's useful isn't here anymore. Mostly it's just things that I'm probably not going to eat, and just preserved anyway, and some of it's rotten. And then a whole lot of whiskey, because I was going through a period. It was a rough time in the early Iron Age. And you may notice a lot of horses and a few pigs around here. Let's we'll get to that. This used to be my farm, and I have a few beehives and such that I don't really use anymore. So it's just kind of here. There's my little boat that I haven't used in God knows how long. I cannot remember the last time I used this little canoe. Yeah. But yeah, this used to be my farm. Oh, it's kind of big actually. Got me a lot of crops on there. And in here was my my old workshop / smithy. This is where I I made my first steel. I even moved my my blast furnace back here in order to kind of preserve where it was. I used to have casting channels running in this direction, one level down. Yeah, I've preserved most of my tools here. Tools that I am very happy that I made. Especially the Invar ones. I haven't seen a whole lot of people do this, but I'm gonna yap a little. In TFC and... no, probably not TFC, just in TFG. In TFG, something like a wrought iron pickaxe has quite a lot of durability. I mean, that's pretty decent, especially when you compare it to this bronze pickaxe. It's basically double, I believe. But if you look at the difference in mining speed, this one, the bronze, has 7, and the wrought iron has 6. Now that makes sense when you consider that bronze is kind of a stronger tool in some ways. It's just that iron is far more abundant, which is why you would move to it, and through refining that iron you can make something that's even better, like steel. Yeah, so that's... a wrought iron pickaxe is slower than a bronze pickaxe. So I was like, well, I would like the extra durability, but I don't want to like have slower mining speed, because it already felt pretty bad. I mean, mining is just slow in this mod pack. So I looked through all my options, and I saw that I could craft Invar, which has the same durability as... okay. It has the same durability as a wrought iron pickaxe. It's 2 mining speed higher than wrought iron and 1 more than bronze, so that it really felt like the most obvious choice to go for Invar rather than wrought iron. So that's what I did. I mean, nickel is quite plentiful, at least for me. I have well, I used to have a nickel farm. What? I used to basically have a nickel mine almost directly beneath the house right here, but I've abandoned it since because I kind of ruined it. And my old Greate, which no longer works because they made still water not functional with water wheels, which is fine. Makes sense. It's a little annoying. I used to have a bloomery here as well, but obviously that's been moved, and I haven't moved it back because I didn't feel like it. But yeah, this little workshop smithy served me quite well. It was pretty cramped before I moved my stuff out of here, so it looks way better in theory right now than it used to. And then I just have some of the armor that I've accumulated. This one I did smith myself, but the pants here was something that Skeleton or something dropped, along with the booch and that javelin that I can't really get off. I did make this black bear hat myself. So yeah, I just have basically all my my old tools here. Well, most of them anyway. This Invar knife, I can't remember if it was the first or the second one. It might have been my second one or something. I know I crafted 2 Invar knives, and then I used one of them first and then switched to another one. So this might have been the second one. Anyway, I crafted this not long after reaching iron, and I didn't put this on the wall here until late MV, because I realized I had no use for it anymore. So it served me for quite a long time, and I even used it quite a lot. Most of these lanterns I have raided from the beneath, so that's... yeah, if you're looking for... what? Anyway, if you want lanterns and you don't want to smith them, go to the beneath. It's kind of dangerous, but if you find a... what are they? Bastion? Yeah, if you find a bastion, they'll be all around that place. When you destroy those lanterns, they also drop the glass for it, which makes it so much better. You might have seen this mine before. This was my iron mine, but I've abandoned it. Not because it's like ruined, it's just because I didn't want to bother anymore. But yeah, I'd say I dug out a lot of this. All of this was done with just regular mining hammers before I had drills and such. Now it's basically a mob farm. Yeah, I didn't want to bother with this one anymore. I think actually it's more of a gold vein rather than a hematite vein. So I don't know. I felt like the iron that I got out of it wasn't really that much. So I have no idea what happened. I at least didn't see it, but my theory is that lightning must have struck and burned down some of this, and that led all of the horses and pigs that I had here to be able to just roam free. So they are, I mean, they are literally everywhere. I mean, look at this. One of them even got all the way over there, and I know that somewhere, yeah, this drake, I think. Let's actually go down to it. It must be in this direction. I have no idea how this guy got loose, but yeah, you see he has 100 familiarity, which means this guy was bred in captivity and got to full familiarity and then somehow got loosed, and I have no idea because this has been before I even got to the Steam Age. He's just been... I don't know, I realized kind of late that that drake that was just roaming around was actually mine, and I was like, oh, I guess he deserves his freedom then. But yeah, this wasn't some Mission Impossible thing. It was just okay. So I did put a lightning rod here, but might have been a little too late to do that. But yeah, I built this barn. I kinda like it. I think it looks good. I should have made it bigger, but also it took me very long time to gather all the thatch to make this roof. And just I built this before. I think I built this in the Bronze Age. So it was kind of a... Towards the end I was just like, yeah, I want this done. Especially because like building roofs and just anything vertical is so annoying in Minecraft without any kind of flight. So yeah, I have a lot of animals. These billy goats I got all the way from Savannah, about 6,000 blocks west. And these mugs us. I think I traveled around, let's see on the map. So I am around C4000, yeah. I live here around C4000. I went all the way up, I think around here. Yeah, so that's almost 6,000 blocks to find muskox. Because I wanted to. And I both regret that and not, because I mean, it's nice to have those muskox. I've been able to get quite a lot of milk out of them. But also, this was done pre-Iron Age as well, that journey. So I had to walk first from here all the way up to this area, and then with no leads, just some weed in my hand in order to lure them. I had to walk all the way through mountains, and I even lost one of them. No, that was a cow. I had some cows as well, but I could have gone literally anywhere for those cows. So that didn't really matter. But I did lose one of the cows. They were killed by a bear. So, oh my god, it took me like 4 hours or something, perhaps even more. There was a bit of a... I don't know. I would never do it again. I will never do it again. Watch me do it again. Huh. Seems like I missed a village up here. Anyways, I got a lot of animals, a lot of... I've called a lot of these, but yeah, I got a lot of ducks. I got all my ducks in a row, and I haven't had a big need for the eggs, so yeah, they've been just left to rot. I don't really come here all that often anymore. And this I just did because of quest completion. I had literally no use for this. So yeah, I think that's basically it for this area. Alright. So as we make our way in this direction, we'll come towards... We'll walk towards the real factory. But before we do that, we should have a little look at this landing strip right here. It is indeed optional. Yeah, this is my landing strip for my my Scarlet biplane. I do love this. I've used it quite a bit actually. Well, I can show it off to you guys because this is really awesome. Such a great addition to this mod pack. I'm very, very happy that they added it. Yeah, I have a few upgrades for it as well, so it takes off very quickly and is quite fast as well. Pretty easy to maneuver. Yeah, it's just good fun to have this. I really, really enjoy it. Even have the spyglass upgrade. Let's just see if we can have a fairly smooth landing here. Shouldn't be that difficult. This is your captain speaking. I hate my life. What? That's not true. Anyways, we move on to another one of my excursion contraptions. I don't know if you can call it that. But yeah, I also built a sailboat, which I've used once. So yeah. But, I mean, if I'd gone with just a rowboat, I don't think I would have been able to get those billy goats back with me. So I suppose it was a good thing. I built it because I wanted to go to the west to find the... what is it called? Blackwood? I believe so. I used this for my cool bridge. Well, I think it's cool. But yeah, it was quite the effort to make this. I would recommend it actually because it is quite fun, but it's very, very difficult to steer and just do anything with. But it's super cool. It works, and I feel like it's kind of shows your progression in a way. And I just love exploring. So yeah, I have it, and I'm probably not going to use it again. Let's take a little walk across my bridge here. Because of the way that I've arranged my lanterns, I feel like it kind of looks like a high-speed rail bridge. That's fine. I like trains. Yeah, this took me quite a while to build. I was trying to use a reference, and then I ended up not using that. So that's kind of why. Along with, you know, I needed to go on a cross-continental journey in order to find it. Let's actually see here. Let's see here. So yeah, on this, whoa. Yeah, it was around here that I made landfall. So that was quite the journey. Fun times though. Here's my new, not really improved farm because this is actually smaller. But I didn't have a big use for large. Oh my garlic is dead. Well, that was on purpose anyway. We'll say that. I didn't have much use for big farms anymore, so it was more just things that could grow quick. Whatever. which has mostly just been canola. Recently I've got such a huge stockpile of food, and you know, I have increased my the food spoilage, or whatever you want to call it, because it was kind of annoying to harvest things that would expire in 2 days. So yeah, let's go down here. This was my Greate. Oh my god. This was my Greate / steam age, what have you, set up. I used to have a ton of water wheels here. And I also had some screenshots of it. I do still have some of them, but I did have some issues with my world and had to reinstall the pack, and I forgot to copy over my screenshots, so they were lost. Whoops. Yeah. It is what it is. But yeah, I had a ton of fun with this setup. It was super janky and spaghetti. And now I've torn it all down, because if you have any idea, if you've ever played with Greate, you know that water wheels, well, they're cool, but if you should remove them if they have no purpose. And then I decided to build my shit. What? I decided to build my cellar in here, where I have some. Oh, it's already gone to vintage. Cool, vintage story. I just have some cheese aging. Yeah. What? Interesting. Anyway, yeah, I have a lot of food. Some of it's rotten, but I don't really mind. Oh, more. Yeah, also most of it has been brined and pickled. Yeah. A lot of food. I do enjoy farming. I do. So I have a little capark forest here that I should have kind of automated. This was like to get latex passively, and I realized that there were probably ways to extract from the bucket rather than having to do that manually. You could have automated it, but I never bothered, and so this was always just a really slow and kind of painful process. So that's why I have so many, and even some for conifer pitch, so that I could at least still make sticky resin during the winter. But yeah, it sees no use anymore, and there was no reason to get rid of it. Used to have a Greate tree farm, or Greate I guess, tree farm right here, which has been torn down and moved. You get to see that. And this was my LV, and technically also MV, because I did do, I think most of my MV progression here actually. And my bloomeries are here. My first college steel anvil. Very cool. This was where the blast furnace used to be. What? The blast furnace? And all my steam multi-blocks used to be down here. A lot of space was taken up by that. And I had a Greate assembly line here. You could call it that. So I had a belt running here with a bunch of deployers and whatnot. It served me quite well. It was very functional for a very long time, and I'm glad that I spent the effort to set all of this up. I still have some of my coke ovens here. I had them stacked. I think I had almost 12 coke ovens in total, running at all times, because I wanted to. Really, a lot of the things that I built is kind of just I wanted to. It may not be like useless for progression, because there's still uses for it, like coke ovens, creosote, charcoal. I mean, that's useful. but I don't think that I needed as many as I had. It was a fun time. It was very cramped in here by the time that I gotten MV machines, because this is really not suited for like RegTech. So that's why I built this here instead. This far bigger factory. I even gave a little chimney there. Well, little, isn't it? I'm not perfectly happy for it, but there's a purpose, there's a reason why it looks the way that it does, so it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, this is quite a lot bigger. Way more space, but I will... I'm about to hit EV, and I'm probably gonna have to build an EV base as well, so that's fun. Yeah, I really like this build, actually. It turned out a lot better than I imagined it would. And if you have ever watched any like Terrafirmagreg content before, specifically a guy called HamCorp, I think you'll see some of my inspiration. Oh, there goes my train. Should we go look at that? Sure. Let's go and wait for the train to come back, and we'll take a little trip. I'll just see you guys when the train comes back. Oh, there she comes. Look at it. Isn't it majestic? I absolutely love this. Greate train contraptions are so cool, and I really like the design that I ended up with. Let's actually disassemble it for a second. So yeah, I even put like I forget what they're called. It's not a tanker car, because, you know, it's supposed to look like it runs on coal. Can't remember what it's called, it doesn't really matter. Train nerd doesn't know what a train thing is called. Also, a little tip for you. Do not create these fuel tanks. They may look nice, but I mean, look at the recipe. So it requires an electron tube, which is, well, if you're going to do with the bad recipe is this, the slightly better recipe is this, and then the better recipe is this, and then of course this, but that doesn't until like the point where I'm at now, which I wasn't when I built this, so. But yeah, you need those, and then you need a fluid tank. That's what you're basically upgrading from. You need reinforced glass, which is tempered glass cut. Tempered glass is glass in the arc furnace. And then you need train casing, which is brass casing with black steel plate. And of course, brass casing is stripped with glass. So yeah, you only get one. And I have quite a few here. I can't remember how many it was, and I'm not going to do the math right now. So the only difference is visually. There's literally no difference. Right now, at least, I saw some devs. A dev mentioned that they had plans for their use, which is why the recipe was like that, and they claimed it was quite cheap, which I guess, you know, it could be worse. But it's not worth it if you aren't going for aesthetics. I wanted to put a container here, but they seem kind of broken, so I just done an item mold. Yeah, so let's go. Let's just assemble it again, and we'll go see. Well, you see some of what it's carrying, lava. But we'll go see what this train is all about. We'll take a train on the Patch Express, even though this isn't really a passenger train. And away we go. here we are at my very, very scuffed, I'd say, in a work site. I've called it. But yeah, this is where I have my new and much larger Greate tree farm, and where I extract my lava from, which isn't supposed to be infinite in this version of Terrafirmagreg. I wanted to make all of this, and while it is powering a lot of basically essential things in my base, I wouldn't really call it super cheating when you consider how much it took to set this up. It took me around 3 or 4 real life days to set all of this up and, you know, craft all the things needed and build a rail, build the train. Okay. Build the train and the tracks. I already said the tracks. Build the train and tracks and all this hoopla. So yeah, I put a lot of effort into this, and then there's also this incredibly scuffed build line coming from these 2 water wheels, which is what powers my my pumps. Other than laziness, I didn't want to set up more windmills, and I didn't want to set up a Greate steam engine here either, so it would have taken less effort to do those things. But this is what I decided on, simply because I didn't want to craft those things. I had a lot of builds, so... Oh, it's back. Anyways, yeah, I went into the Greate configs and I set to that you could have infinite fluids only if they were above 10,000 source blocks. So I found a pretty... I do have my jetpack on. Whoa. I found a... Whoa. Okay. Pretty large lava lake. And there were like a few seconds that it had started to pump without me like checking if I had actually done everything right with those configs. So it did pump out actually quite a lot of it. Actually, it's way more than I thought. But yeah, this is... I'm pretty sure this is above 10,000. I mean, it formed, I guess you could say. It did say it is infinite, so that is what's happening here. Whoa. You can call it cheating all you like. I don't really. Like, I had fun. That's really all that matters. Oh no. Doesn't that look great? Oh man, I love it so much. Anyways, let's head on back. And we are back. Oh, hello, I'm stuck. Okay. So we are back here at the factory. And this is probably where the most amount of both scuff and... what? That doesn't make sense. This is probably where you get the most amount of yapping from me. So should we start with my incredibly scuffed ore processing? It looks scuffed, but it's very, very functional, which is very, very good. I have these 2 aluminium fans blowing here at all the ores that I want to, well, bathe in regular water, or just wash if you want to call it that. And then 2 steel fans that I just had left over from my old ore processing. And I thought I might as well use them, because with these stainless steel crushing wheels, they do parallel. So they do crush a lot at once. That means I'll have stacks really of ores coming in here, and I have them stop at this depot, and then only drop down to this depot down here once that they are... Oh my god. It's kind of dangerous to be here. They'll only drop down once they are purified. So yeah, these mechanical arms will then take from the depot that they are assigned to, and then put it onto this belt. All stone dust goes directly into this super tank I have with void overflow. So, you know, there are uses for stone dust every once in a while. So I thought it wouldn't be such a bad idea to just have a super tank with it. So yeah, all stone dust will go in here, and then everything else will go into this tunnel, and then any dusts that are extracted from the purification process gets sorted into this build and then goes back into here, into this buffer, because sometimes there's a lot of things happening at once, so I kind of need a buffer, otherwise things would just stall. If there's space available, we'll just go straight through the buffer and then into these. So after things get crushed initially, they'll go past here and not go in here, because it's set to be filtered to only be dusts and things that can be, or not necessarily things that can be, things that I want to wash through either mercury or chemically bathe through mercury or sodium persulfate. If they go into these crates, they then get extracted from here and goes into this filter, where sodium persulfate goes in this direction and mercury goes in this direction. And then they're run through these advanced chemical baths. I just had them at MV because, well, I had them at LV first and they were way too slow, so I upgraded to MV. And I didn't want to upgrade to HV because that felt like perhaps a little too much power draw for just these things. But yeah, dust goes this and everything else goes in here, and then everything from the platinum ore group goes into here, because I do want to have a bit of a surplus of those ores for when I finally set up a platinum, the plat line. And yeah, anything else that I want to have run through the thermal centrifuge goes in here, and then into this crate where it's buffered, and then into this steam input bus, and then down below there's also a steam input bus, because I actually have 2 of them. You can wall share these guys pretty damn well. You can't really see it. So I have the lower part of it, these steel firebox casings, which is kinda, well, not really, I guess, but there are some of the more expensive parts or annoying parts to craft. So that's what I decided to have wall shared. And yeah, these run so well. I mean, they do take up 480 millibuckets of steam per tick. That's fine. As you might have seen down there, I have a... Well, let's just go back down. I have a large steel boiler which generates 1200 millibuckets per tick of steam. And that's being fed by the lava that's being extracted over here through this extremely scuffed. I'm not great at Greate, and I'm kind of new to it, so then also having to work with the weird shit that Greate creates. Oh my god. So yeah, it's incredibly scuffed, but I have this lava. It's all being extracted from here, going into this super tank to be buffered, and for some reason it's a lot faster to extract from Greate fluid tanks. So I have this auto outputting into this, and then there's a little bit more that's being buffered here, and then that's always being extracted. out into all these blaze burners, which powers these steam engines, which then powers my, well, steam generation. And these I have running simply because I didn't want to just scrap them, so I have them. They don't really they don't really help all that much. The bronze boiler, which you'll see what powers in a minute, is doing just fine, powering most of the stuff. And so does this guy. And I have these kind of scuffed large water wheels powering those steel fans up there, because I was kind of running low on stress units from these. As you can see, it has 2,304 SU via 9 engines, and I'm fairly certain that I calculated this, that if I have more than 9, well, the engines themselves would start to generate less SU stress units than they are right now. So as you can see, both of them have 9 engines, so I once again didn't want to bother setting up yet another Greate steam. So again, all of these, I didn't have to craft any new ones because all of those were powering stuff individually over at the river for my old setup. So yeah, it's very, very scuffed, but it functions, and it functions quite well. I have never had to do anything about it really, other than move some of it because it kind of conflicted with some pipes. And when I built this, I had to move these a little bit to the right, at least from this angle. I have to move them from here to there so that I could actually wall share here. This is really all that I've ever done with this. It just works, it just runs. So I am both proud and ashamed of this. Aesthetically, I am very, very ashamed of it because it's really ugly. But functionally, it works so much better than I had imagined while I was building it. It's really fast, actually. Again, because these run 8 parallels, and there are 2 of them, so that's 16, and they run at regular LV speed, so 20 seconds. So that's 16 ores every 20 seconds. That's pretty good, especially for, I mean, I've actually had this since late MV, because you don't need HV circuits to create these. You kind of just need a few HV components, like stainless steel, which you can already smelt in MV. Yeah, it's kind of expensive, I guess, but totally doable in MV. I feel like this is almost EV level of ore processing, but it was all actually done in very late MV. So I guess we can move on to my blast furnace setup. I have a sideways quad EBF because that makes the hatches far more easier to access. I have them fed with nitrogen in order to have those recipe run faster. And then, you know, right now they are being powered by 2 HV energy hatches, so they are running at EV. I have nichrome coils. They're being powered by this 16x battery buffer with energium crystals, which hold, well, you know, these are just the best batteries in HV. They are so much better than the lithium batteries, which are kind of the better batteries for the tiers below HV. So you can also have HV lithium batteries, but man, energium crystals are so much better, and I feel like they're pretty cheap to craft. I mean, you make this energium dust, which is ruby dust and redstone dust, in a mixer, which admittedly does take a while. And then you just run that through an HV autoclave with, I mean, if you are cheap and you don't mind waiting, you can go it through with still water. Or you can use black steel liquid black steel to speed it up even further. Or you can be even more cheap and use regular water and wait 90 seconds for each. Or, as I did, I just smelted some red steel and then extracted it into liquid form and then You know, it didn't take all that long to get all of those Energium crystals and have it's a decent amount of extra lying around. I also have some in here, and then one as like a buffer for my nano muscle suit, because this thing just draws power like crazy. It's slurping that shit up. Yeah, I really like this this EBF setup. I don't even have a full 16 amps of HV powering it. I think it's, how much do I have? I have 8 combustion engines and I have 6 gas turbines. That's 14. So, you know, there's definitely a need for this battery buffer, not just to get it to 16 amps, but also to be able to run it for a little longer without power failing. But I have not, ever since I got these, I have not had it power fail ever. Even though I ran some pretty, I mean I had 9 stacks of stainless steel that I put through this, and it didn't power fail through all of that. So that's pretty flippin' cool. And I have all my LV machines that I moved to this area, which I kind of made this open space. Mostly because I was tired of how cramped it was in the old one. So yeah, it's a little more space here. And then all my MV machines, some of which have been repurposed into my my passive stuff, which we'll get to. And then my HV machines, which is kind of just also thrown together. Most of them I don't need all that much, so they're just kind of packed back here. And then the machines that I use a little more often are at the front, being powered by 2 combustion generators that I feed with Cetane-Boosted diesel. What? That I feed with Cetane-Boosted diesel. And it's just 2 into these this 8X battery, so that can run both this and the clean room with well, up to 8 machines at once. That again, this has never power failed. And so I have my clean room here where I make a bunch of stuff. Well, you know, regular clean room stuff. And then I have these components to craft circuits. Believe it or not, this doesn't feel like enough. Chemicals. Yeah, this is 11 by 7 by 11. It took way longer than I thought it would to make, because I had forgotten just how annoying these filter casings are to craft. I mean, the Greate was, well, I did remember that. Yeah, I mean, they're not that difficult to craft, but it still takes a little while. But I had completely forgotten how these filter casings were so annoying to craft. Yeah, I think this will serve me quite well for a decent time. I don't foresee me needing to build something bigger than this. And if I do, well, it's most likely because I chose to do that. And I have an LCR for on-demand LCR crafting right here. And yeah, I've used this quite a bit as well. It's being powered from beneath with a combustion generator. And yeah, I'm gonna muffle this guy. The clean room is being powered by a basic combustion generator just right beneath it. It makes it a little easier to... I don't know where I was going with that, but I like that. And yeah, I have it all feeding through these pipes. So many pipes I've made. It's so much spaghetti as well. So, yeah, well, if I ever get hungry, I know where to go. This powers the vacuum freezer that you saw up there. And then I have my liquid air passive stuff going here, which makes me a whole lot of nitrogen, some crushed ice, oxygen, which it's fine that I have this. I still store it, but I have that passive as well over there. I guess I do have that with the nitrogen as well, but it's always great to have some more. And it makes some carbon dioxide, which I also get from some other sources, so I probably didn't need to have an MV super tank, but I made it anyway. And then helium, which I will be needing, and then argon I won't really be needing for quite a while, I believe. But it's very nice to be able to build up a stockpile of it. It does take up it's kind of power hungry. It's 1 amp, basically a full amp of HV, where the recipe takes 100 seconds to run. But I am making so much Reformate, I don't know, Reformate gas, I'm just gonna say, that it really doesn't matter. Yeah, that's cool. I have these multi-block tanks that I don't really need necessarily, but it's kind of nice if I ever, let's go into my backpack. I have this, take this cell, and let's say I need some seawater or some kind of crafting recipe. I won't be needing seawater. More likely, I'll be needing just regular water, because that is used in some crafting recipes. So rather than having to set up either a new tank or set up a new pump for that, or putting on a drum on one of these pipes, I just have this so that I can always just boom, now I have some water, and I don't really have to worry about it. If I have some leftover water, it doesn't matter. I can just craft it into an empty cell again, and you know, it was full within seconds. I don't need it, but it is kind of nice to have. This is where I have my my electric greenhouses. Let's go up and check those. That is what I use to make my Cetane-Boosted diesel. They are running canola ovios because that is, as far as I know, the most efficient way to get the crafting ingredient to make biodiesel. You can use a few different things to make biodiesel. In this case, it's seed oil. And as far as I know, canola is the best source of generating seed oil. It has the highest yield. Not in terms of the ovules or the canola itself, but when you fluid extract it through this fluid extractor I have down here, or just extractor, makes 600 millibuckets of seed oil per canola ovule. It's being set straight up to this, which is being fed some methanol. Okay, let's actually go another direction to kind of explain this, because not only is it a lot of spaghetti, but basically everything comes from one thing, and then everything else kind of feeds itself. I'm so happy about this. I mean, I feel like I saw through the matrix while I was setting most of this up. I'm not too active on the Terrafirmagreg Discord, so I'm sure someone else has done something more efficient or just something like what I'm doing. But I feel like I've kind of cracked the code with this. And please prove me wrong, because I'd love to find a better way for this. Not because I don't like this, I love this, but just like, you know, if I can make it even more efficient, that's fucking cool. That's so cool. Anyways, we should take it from where it all begins. Well, I guess it kind of begins with those. That's one input. But other than that, this is basically the only input that I really need in order to make a biodiesel. So yeah, it all starts, I suppose, with this large bronze boiler and these coke ovens, which I don't need anymore, but I still have them running. I did need them at some point because I wasn't making enough creosote, so I just built these so that I had an extra source, because, you know, these kind of created out of thin air with my logs being completely infinite and free to generate. But yeah, all of this is feeding these 12 basic steam turbines, which I crafted before the update that made steam turbines take cobalt brass and huge steel fluid pipe. I understand why the devs of this pack decided to nerf them in this way, because it is incredibly easy to just set up. I mean, I did it. Just some kind of passive steam power generation and then spam steam turbines. Luckily, I had crafted all of these before that update was even announced. So I didn't even know that was going to be a thing. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, well, good thing I already crafted that. Anyways, those logs as well are being fed into these two pyros oven, which are still running at LV because I don't really have a reason to overclock them, simply because I have them running with nichrome coils. I wanted to. And I don't think I need to have nichrome. I could have just... This could have been running probably as smoothly with a canful. I feel like nichrome isn't that much of a deal to craft. So that's... Yeah, I did it. It'd take a while, but I have time. Sometimes. But yeah, those steam engines are feeding into this medium voltage battery buffer, which is powering another pyros oven, which is actually at the HV, or it's being overclocked with 2 MV energy hatches. And those are still copper nickel coils because I couldn't be bothered to switch them out. I probably could switch it to canful as well, or even nichrome if I wanted to, but there's simply no need. The recipe that it's running is already pretty damn fast, and as you can see, it's not even running right now because it doesn't need to. I'll show you what it makes in a second. But yeah, it's feeding that, and then this distillation tower, which is being overclocked to HV through 2 MV energy hatches, and it's wall sharing a little bit, not all that much as you can see because it's stacked on top of this pyros oven, but it's wall sharing a little bit here, and then 2 distillation towers that are wall sharing here, which aren't being powered through this steam setup. That's fine. The steam is also powering, I think I have 6 centrifuges, which I no longer really need, but it's still kind of neat, kind of cool, kind of whatever to have it, so I just still have it running. And of course a gas collector. So yeah, they feed that along with this pyros oven, and then I did have to put the last pyros oven on its own power grid, because when both the distillation tower was running, both of these pyros ovens were running, and you know, all of this stuff, and then the last pyros oven would run, it would drain a little too much power from it. I even, just for safety's sakes, put these combustion generators, which are being powered with some passive ethanol, which I don't need, so it's not very efficient to burn ethanol in this way, but I don't need it, and I create a surplus of it anyway. So I thought I'd rather just have that spare and excess power rather than have a power failure. That's cool. Anyways, this pyros oven I used for some on-demand crafting, like vitrified asbestos dust, which is made through just putting asbestos at MV in with nitrogen. And the vitrified asbestos dust is needed in order to make vitrified enderpearls, which is done also in a pyros oven with kaolinite powder, those vitrified asbestos, enderpearls, and a little bit of nitrogen. And you need those vitrified enderpearls because they are basically anything that takes ender eyes in normal Greate. So that'd be, you know, HV emitter, HV sensor, MV field generator, and then eventually this thing which I don't really know all that much about yet because I haven't done EV in Terrafirmagreg yet. And as far as I can tell, when it's like in EV there are so many changes from normal Greate, so I'm gonna have to learn that a lot. I still had to learn a lot for this as well, but for the most part LV and MV was kind of similar to normal Greate. It was fine, I've done that before. But yeah, this other than that, that small amount of on-demand crafting, this Pyrolysis oven also makes fermented biomass. And fermented biomass is made through some of those saplings that I am collecting from my tree farm. Just running into this steam squasher, which is an awesome multi-block, which makes plant balls, and then goes into this high pressure steam macerator, which is slow, but as you can see, it doesn't need to be any fast. Feeding into an input bus here, which I can't really access, but that's fine. And yeah, and then some water, which is being fed via these fluid pipes from the Greate setup. And yeah, every once in a while. Oh, so this is why it's not running. I completely forgot to put tape into this. Ah, anyways, yeah, this feeds into this distillery or distillation tower, which creates some fertilizer, which is then fed through this very scuffed item pipe into the input bus of the, which is fed into the input bus of my electric greenhouses in order to have those run a faster recipe. They're also overclocked from LV to 8 MV. Still take it 240 seconds, but let's not talk about that. This creates also acetic acid, which is really nice for some more stuff that I'm creating downstairs, crafting downstairs. Creates methanol, which I only have in a basic super tank. I'm also creating methanol in a ton of other places. And then ammonia, which is being used all the time, so that's why it's not here. Carbon dioxide, which is also done in the passive distillation tower, so it's also only a basic one. And then methane, which I am also making through centrifuging Kapok logs, but that's a very slow progress even with 2 running at the same time, so it's kind of nice to have some extra here. Let's repair this fella here. Oh, that's the wrong tape. I have some. I crafted quite a bit of the tape because I was kind of getting tired of manually doing maintenance on the maintenance hatches. Not that it's really any big deal. You just need to find the correct tool and then right-click inside of this. Oh, we could actually do it if we want to. Let's see. It's one of the soft mallet. Yeah. Then I just left-click and now it's running. So that's fine, but with tape, it'll fix itself if it runs into problems. Kind of surprised that this thing would run into maintenance because, you know, it has been there for some time, but these have been running for so long. I mean, so long. I put these in for safety, but they have not needed any maintenance. This one also required some maintenance not that long ago, and this one is it's not as recent as that one, but very recent as well. Anyways, yeah, fermented biomass makes all these good things. I should probably explain what these Pyrolysis ovens are actually making. First one is making creosote and charcoal, and the reason why it's creating creosote is because creosote is used over here, which we'll get to. And right now I have so much creosote that it doesn't really matter. I still have it making that, because why not? And I have this one which makes charcoal byproducts. And that's despite the fact that the quest book, I'm pretty sure, actually recommends that you... Yeah, see, the quest book recommends 2 Pyrolysis ovens, one producing creosote and the other wood tar. So I had that for a while. But then I kinda went a little crazy with distillation towers. So I looked through some of the recipes, and also I was I felt like I was running low on benzene, which is also needed over here. I'm not really using it to burn, and it will also be nerfed even more than it has been. So it's not like, don't use it to power things. Not like normal Greate. Once again, that's fine because what it's making is even better. Anyways, I felt like this wasn't running enough in order to keep up the way that I wanted it to. So I really look through, are there any better ways that I can make wood tar, or are there any better ways that I can then make charcoal so that I can fluid extract some of it into wood tar? Because that's been nerfed in this version as well. It's a way slower recipe and only available at MV, which means that it requires a lot more of energy to run those crafts. So it needed to be pretty worth it. I couldn't just slap an extra extractor here that makes that wood tar without that being profitable in terms of what then powers it, because I just have the benzene power. That was a little easier than having to pipe some of the Reformate gas that I'm making over here to, you know, all the way up here. I guess I could have it below, but this is how it ended up. But yeah, they are being fed with the nitrogen from the centrifuge to speed up the process. And yeah, so I have the charcoal byproducts because that is a faster recipe than just wood tar, and it creates 4 buckets of charcoal byproducts. Now, if you were to just go with the regular wood tar recipe, you would be getting 1.5 buckets of wood tar every, if you're using canful coils on MV, which is the lowest one and what I'm running right now, 32 seconds. So yeah, 1.5 buckets of wood tar every 32 seconds. So this one is shorter because it's creating charcoal byproducts. Let's see again. The charcoal byproduct recipe. Here it is. So as you can see, just in the tooltip alone, it's faster. It creates 4 buckets of charcoal byproducts, and obviously because it's faster, it creates a lot more charcoal, which can be fluid extracted. That's one thing that makes it faster in that way. And also you need the charcoal for more than just fluid extracting. You also need it in this over here. So even more charcoal is only good in that if you want all of this to be running fast and all the time, which it's running fast, but it's not running all the time because it doesn't need to. But yeah, if you take charcoal byproducts into a distillery or distillation tower, you take 1 bucket. Again, you make 4 buckets of this. If you take 1 bucket of charcoal byproduct and you run it through a distillation tower, you get 250 millibuckets of wood tar, and then all these other good, very nice goodies like wood vinegar, wood gas, and xylene, which is dimethyl benzene in normal Greate. It's the same thing, they just changed the name. So yeah, they do what they do. But yeah, so 1 bucket, 250. So 4 is 1 bucket. So technically that is less than the normal one, but because this recipe is twice as fast, it means that in the same time it would take to make 1.5, pretty much you'll be getting 2 buckets instead of wood tar, and then all the other things. Sure, like it's more expensive because you have to create a distillation tower for it. So, you know, I would totally understand why you wouldn't want to do this, but this is better if you ask me. You do also get this charcoal dust at a, what is it? It's a 25% chance, but as you can see, even though I have been feeding this one boiler here, it's creating quite the surplus anyway. So, and I don't think that there are really much uses for it. I mean, I can make gunpowder, or I could I'm pretty sure I can electrolyze it into get carbon, but I have that passive as well, so I don't have much need of it, which is why it's in a basic super chest with void overflow. There's no reason to just void all of it, but there's also no reason to have all of it stop because it's full. But yeah, this is really, really nice as well, because as I said, it creates that wood gas and wood vinegar. And wood vinegar is also pretty good, because if you take a look in here and see wood vinegar, 1 bucket, which, okay, the other distillation tower doesn't make 1 bucket at a time, but it still doesn't take very long, because before it has made that wood vinegar, you run that through yet another HV distillation tower, and it doesn't actually take a full amperage of HV. It only takes half an amperage of HV. So it's kind of cheap in that way. It does makes acetic acid, which I'm also making some in the other distillation tower at the end, but having more is only good. Makes water, which I'm just voiding that because I do not need water. It's infinite anyway. Slight bit of ethanol, which is fine. I have that feeding over to my super tank with the other ethanol. Make some methanol, which I also have void overflow because I'm making so much. But I am considering taking this methanol and running it through yet another distillation tower in order to create hydrogen, oxygen, methane, ethylene, and propane, which is pretty good. The propane and ethylene especially. The other ones, the hydrogen is pretty cool. The oxygen I don't need, and the methane I guess I don't need either. It's also a little longer and more expensive recipe, but right now power is not much of an issue for me. So yeah, it also makes acetone and methyl acetate. And acetone will be useful. I haven't used it yet, but it will be, as well as methyl acetate. Methyl acetate can be used in order to make quite a lot of things actually. It can be used with nitric acid to create tetranitromethane. I think tetranitromethane. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, which is needed in order to make Cetane-Boosted diesel. That's not really what I'm using it for right now, but I could. If this distillation tower was closer to the large chemical reactor making this, or the mixer really, I guess I could do that, but that's not the route that I chose. But it's also used in a few other things. Well, you can make more acetic acid, and you can make glue, I guess. It's just nice to have, and it doesn't make a whole lot of it. But that's nice to have. It really doesn't make a whole lot, so that's why also one of the reasons why I decided not to have that feed that whole loop primarily. I should drink some water because apparently I'm getting dehydrated. And eat some food. I've been yapping so much. I'm actually dying in game. Alright. Now the world shouldn't look as grey. In a moment at least. But yeah, I have the acetic acid is actually being, along with the ethanol, is being piped through these quadruple polytetrafluoroethylene fluid pipes. And yeah, the ethanol is being put into here. The acetic acid is then run into this one. So it can be stored and then out again, along with the methanol that I'm getting here, down this way, and I think also the ammonia. So I have that running down here, all the way through all this pipe spaghetti into this LCR, which mixes ammonia along with ethanol, I think. No, oxygen. Let me just be sure for a minute. Right. That's right. I'm just having the ammonia and the oxygen done through this LCR, which makes nitric acid and some water, which I'm voiding. And the nitric acid goes straight into this input hatch for this LCR, which is what is making the tetranitromethane. So I am having all that acetic acid and methanol run into this chemical reactor, making methyl acetate, which I'm also making through the distillation tower, but not a whole lot of it. This is a little more efficient to just mix these things and have that then go straight into this this bad boy here, which is creating the tetranitromethane, and some water, which I'm voiding, and some carbon dust. So that's why I said I had passive carbon dust, which is just a basic super chest with item voiding. That is then fed into this mixer, HV mixer, which is mixing the biodiesel together with the tetranitromethane, which is then feeding up to a super tank here, which is storing all of my Cetane-Boosted diesel. Okay, So that's most of the diesel now. And see how it all circles back in this way? So the other thing that this is making is, as I said, creosote and charcoal. I need creosote and charcoal in this liquefaction. I'm pretty sure it's liquefaction. I don't know. So yeah, you need creosote and you need charcoal. And I'm running this on circuit 2, which means it's running a little faster, but it also has a 10% chance to consume 10 millibuckets of hydrogen. So that's why I have this hydrogen, which is being made from seawater electrolysis, which is the seawater that's being pumped down here. And the seawater is also making sodium hydroxide. 1 dust of sodium hydroxide and 2 small piles of sodium hydroxide. The small piles I'm just voiding, and the rest I am piping into this basic super chest with item overflow. So I have the sodium hydroxide going into this packer, which makes the tiny piles. The tiny piles is automatically input into this basic chemical reactor, which is getting the seed oil down below and some methanol from byproducts, which is then creating that biodiesel run into this fuel tank to be stored or sent into, this passive stuff here. That was a lot, right? But yeah, this liquefaction tower makes something called raw aromatic mix, and as a byproduct, it makes coal tar and syngas, which is something you can burn, and I have done that and still do, but it's not very energy dense. It's kind of a byproduct, if you ask me. So that's also being overflow voided and feeding into 2 tanks, because at the time I didn't want to make an MV super tank, so I just have 2 LVs, which is feeding into this chemical reactor, which has copper, which is not consumed, and then it just runs the syngas into passive ethanol, and it makes so much of it, it's kind of crazy. And because it makes so much of it, and I don't have this on voiding, I am making so much syngas as well that I am running most of this stuff here purely off of syngas. I'm having the liquefaction tower running on syngas. I'm having all of this craziness running on syngas, and I even have these things running on syngas as well. And I'm pretty sure that there are some more things running on syngas as well. And I could run even more things on syngas, I believe. I just haven't. Anyways, the raw aromatic mix is being fed into this super tank, which doesn't have voiding, because that doesn't make sense. This is kind of the main ingredients that I need. That is then directly feeding into this chemical reactor, which is taking the benzene from the distillation tower there, run through this stupid pipe, which has both benzene, steam, and creosote and oxygen running through it. But I need all those things over here, so that's fine. Through a lot of filters, I'm having the benzene and steam. Wow. Okay. I'm having the benzene and steam put into here, which makes aromatic feedstock, which is directly put into this one, which is mixed, chemically reacted with tiny piles of rhenium, which you need to go west or southwest really in order to find. And you don't really need a whole lot of it. And it only has a 10% chance to consume these tiny piles of it, which create reformed aromatic feedstock. Okay, and that's then feeded into this cracker, which takes some steam here and the aromatic feedstock or whatever, reformed aromatic feedstock, and that creates the Reformate gas at a very, very good ratio. So it is, let's go all the way back here. So we go through the reformed aromatic and the aromatic mix. Okay, so this is the recipe I'm running for the charcoal, 4 buckets of creosote, and then per tick a 10% chance to consume 1 millibucket. Okay, so I think I said 10 millibuckets, but it's 1 millibucket, a tick that has 10% chance to consume. Well, probably not a whole lot, but okay. Creates half a bucket of coal tar, which I'm actually also distilling over here. It doesn't distill all that often, but that creates naphthalene, which will be useful at some point, I'm pretty sure. Hydrogen sulfide, which is sure, I might as well have it, but I don't think I need it. And then some what is it that makes here? I forget actually. Creosote, that's right. So it makes even more creosote, which is fed back here. And also, if you know the recipe with wood tar, it also creates some creosote, so that's even more creosote. And then phenol, which is also made here, so that's why I have it piped up here. That's just more things that I get for free. And then coke dust, which I don't have a use for. It was an accident that it wasn't on item on voiding, so now it is. I don't really have a use for this either. I could also put that into this thing, because that would burn for a longer time, but again, it doesn't need it. And it can't be fed into blaze burners. Coke dust can't. Normal coke would supercharge them, which would create even more stress units, but coke dust can't, and you can't turn coke dust into normal coke, unfortunately. I think you can make, yeah, you can make it create some carbon. That's it. Not that useful, but I might as well store it. It creates half a bucket of this, 4.4 syngas, which I've explained all of that, but that's quite a lot. And then 4 buckets of raw aromatic mix, which is exactly what you need for the next craft. So I'm just gonna say that it creates 1 bucket because that's easy in my head, but that's not really what it does. But essentially, it's 1 craft, I guess. 1 craft of this aromatic mix, mixed with a little bit of benzene and some steam, makes this aromatic feedstock. 2 buckets, but again, it's just 1 craft, and the next one requires only 2. And you chemically react that with the tiny piles of rhenium dust for the same amount of reform aromatic feedstock. And that is what you could either crack it in a chemical reactor. And what? You could crack it in a chemical reactor for 3 buckets, essentially turning 1 to 3, I guess. I'm not sure how you, but that's it. 1 craft is 3 buckets. That's pretty good because it's a little more energy dense than benzene, and it burns for a little longer than benzene as well. This hasn't been fully nerfed yet, but as you can see, it's 0.55 rather than 0.6 and 322. So a little bit better, and you also get more, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, you could instead run it through the cracker, which takes the same amount, 2 buckets or just 1 craft, but I guess a little more steam, but that's free, to make 8 buckets. That's so much better, so much more, and it's not really that long of a craft. And because I'm running it with night chrome and I'm running it at HV, you actually missed it there, but it's, I think it's 16 seconds and then 384 EU per tick. Oh yeah, again, it's very easy to run. And it also creates this cracked Reformate off gas, which you can take through an HV electrolyzer to get some carbon dioxide and some hydrogen. So in theory, I might not even need the seawater electrolysis for hydrogen, but I might as well have it because it also makes high chlorine, which is very useful, and you kind of, not, I wouldn't say difficult to source, but you just need a lot of it, so the more the merrier. And as you can see, you know, I've used most of it anyway. But yeah, you get some carbon dioxide and you get the hydrogen gas, and then a 10% chance to be refunded that rhenium dust, which, as the quest book states, let's see if we can find that. This will allow you to loop most of your rhenium, making Reformate gas effectively an infinite fuel. I agree. I very much agree. So this is, I mean, I kid you not, I had a 2 million buckets of Reformate gas before I set it up with the cracker. And I kid you not, it was within 1 day that I had to install yet another super tank because I had completely filled that super tank. And again, these are completely full. This is barely running at any time. It is such a good thing. Anyways, there was also that carbon dioxide, which I am having run into an HB chemical reactor, which gets some of the glycerol, which is a byproduct from making biodiesel, is running into this, and that creates, with a little bit of carbon dioxide, creates ethylene. So that is also just ethylene, completely passive and basically free. It requires just a little bit of power, but it's being powered with this biodiesel right here. And it doesn't run all that long or all that often, so it doesn't draw all that much of the biodiesel. And that also creates some leftover oxygen, which is being piped up here for, well, you might be able to guess it. If you can, leave a comment. But yeah, I'll tell you what is going into this. The chlorine, the methane, fluorine, if I had any. Very, very difficult to get. And yeah, that's being run through, and if you know what it makes, then you'll know that this is quite good once I have some fluorine. And it also can be looped around to create iron-free chloride, which is used to make circuit boards, which is used to make circuits. So all of this essentially from nothing. Like this, all of these things. Again, there's so much extra steps that I've added to it, but I mean, again, if you know what this is, you also know that that is a decent amount of it to have. It hasn't been running a whole lot. It was half a super tank, no, almost a full super tank of fluorine that I fit into this. So, and I created that amount. I also used of it, I mean, I've used quite a lot of it to make all of these LCRs. I even have some spare parts in order. I need to make another one, and a ton of well, where is it? Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Oh yeah, all of those pipes there. I guess I already gave away what it is. In that way, Error. Yeah, pipes here. You can pause if you need to see how many pipes it is. And a bunch of sheets in order to make those damn circuit boards. But yeah, I've made I still don't think it's enough, but I have a... I'm not circuit poor, at least. I don't think there's all that much more other than a very, very special thing. Because as you may know, or maybe you don't, that's completely understandable if you don't, kind of the last things that you do in HV, or not really, but the thing that you need to do in order to progress to EV is, in this pack at least, go to space. To the moon specifically. Well, I am in fact ready to do that. I have my rocket right here. I have a miner that I can set up. I have my spacesuit. Just basically what I thought I would need in order to survive up in space. So I felt that we should go there together. Doesn't that? I feel like that sounds like fun. And I can kind of just carry this, really, if I put some normal tape on it and then break it. Whoa! It does consume the tape, so let's put on my spacesuit and then put the correct cosmetic armor on. Kind of like how this looks, if I'm being honest. So that is how I'm going to look. Although maybe it makes sense to, yeah, I'm actually just gonna look like a space guy. An astronaut, you may call it. I've even made kind of pathetic launch site, but it's a launch site nonetheless over here. And I suppose once it becomes day, we can take one small step. The customized TFG rocket looks a lot cooler than it does in just the vanilla, I guess you could call it, at Astromod. It's the same, it's basically the same structure, but the colors are a lot nicer. Obviously they changed that to reflect what has gone into it with aluminum and stainless steel. I forget how, do you need a fuel loader actually? Or how do you, oh, you just do it like this? Okay, well I have a quite a lot of rocket fuel, I would say. So I think I am ready, but again, I'm going to wait for daybreak. It might take a while. See you in a bit. Well, the weather is fairly clear. It looks like a great day for liftoff or launching, whatever you want to call it. So I see no reason then to just get on with it. Oh, I'm quite excited. This isn't my first time going to space in a Greate mod pack, but it is my first time in Terrafirmagreg. What? Terrafirmagreg? So this is quite exciting, actually. I'm really looking forward to this. Oh my god. Oh, okay. I thought I had more time to admire my base. Well, I can only really go to the moon, and I don't have the resources to create a base station. I probably shouldn't do that right now anyways. So let's just go to the moon. Whoa. Yeah. Whose base to apply boosters? I don't need to do that yet. I know what I'm doing. Wow, okay, this looks a heck of a lot different than what the moon usually does. Damn. Okay. I'm just gonna put a waypoint. Okay. So, this is the moon, I guess. Oh yeah, of course you jump pretty high. And I can't use my jetpack here because I need a spacesuit, obviously. Oh. How is it that you do this actually? I forget. Oh, it's just like that. Okay. I should put down the... Whoa. Right then. I have my launch pad so that I can return. And well, I'm on the moon. Oh, hello. Thank you. Well, I'm pretty sure that all I have to do now is look for bauxite and basically anything that can give me rutile in order to make titanium. But other than that, yeah, I'm not gonna show a whole lot more. But this is really, really cool. I want to see how is it with shaders. Ooh. This makes it seem a lot less like the moon. This is really cool. This is very, very nice. I'm very glad to have gotten this far. It only took me this amount of time. You can convert that into hours if you'd like. I have done so before. I know it is above 400 hours. That's all I said. That's all I have to say. this is one of the best Minecraft mod packs that I've ever played. I absolutely love this. I love Greate in general, and I feel like what they have added to Greate in this mod pack is phenomenal. And just how they've integrated it with Terrafirmagreg and everything that they've added. I mean, Greate as well, which is kind of a more complicated Create, but still, you know, it's Create but Gregified. That's a lot of fun. How does it look so far? Well, nothing of interest on the map. Oh, those are called birds. Not a bird, as in B-I-R-D, but B-I-R-T. Pretty sure you can pick them up with the carry-on. Yes, you can. You're a little bird. Goodbye. That's so cool. Anyways, that's really all I had to show all of you. If you'd like to see more, tell me. I wouldn't mind making some more videos. I'm not gonna do a series. I am pretty sure that I will when the mod pack fully releases, when it's out of development, I guess. 1.0 releases. I will do a full playthrough starting from the beginning all the way to wherever I end up. Right now my goal has actually just been to get to the moon, but I guess my next goal is to get to Mars. If I get that far before I might have a burnout, who knows. Anyways, this has been a lot of fun yapping about all of the well, I was about to say crazy, but it's not really that crazy. All the stupid things that I've been doing in this map, and then going to space with you all. So I'm probably gonna set up a moon base, because I'm pretty sure that's what the quest book wants me to do. And maybe we'll see each other in this world again. Maybe we won't, because no one wants to watch this, and that's fine. It's been fun either way. I have been Patchguy, you have been you. As I said, if you want to see more, do tell me. Otherwise, you can leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want to see more videos from me specifically. You like vintage story, which is what I usually make. There will be more. In fact, I just uploaded a new video today. I wonder when this will come out, when I'll find the energy to actually edit it, because I'm pretty sure I've been going for way longer than I was supposed to. I love yapping about things that I find interesting and funny. Anyways, that's it. Goodbye, 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 bye, 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 goodbye, bye.